Steffi needs to give it a rest. Like, she is insufferable. Hey y'all, hey, welcome to the next episode of the Deep Dive with Toya Creates. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, and we are going to talk about the bold and the beautiful. But first, if you love content like this, please like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe. I would love to hear what you love about the stories, what you hate about them, and your predictions for what's next as the summer is rapidly approaching. So, let's just get into it. So, we are still at Forrester with Hope, Ridge, and Steffi going around in circles. And you know what? I think Hope may finally be fed up because it is very evident to me that Steffi in particular always makes things personal, and she does not value Hope as if she ever has, and she just will always see Hope as the enemy. In Steffi's mind, she's another little dirty Logan. And ooh, now she's a dirty Spencer. Even though, is Steffi forgetting that her own child is a Spencer and she was one too? But whatever, Steffi. So yeah, I mean, Hope is still trying to get answers from Ridge. Ridge is actually being reasonable. He expresses that Hope is a very valuable asset to Forrester Creations, but he's still siding with Steffi as well in that they need to prioritize Couture now because of Eric's return. And, you know, Hope is still countering with, well, what about the other lines? The perfume line is still going, yada, yada, yada. And they don't really have a rebuttal for that other than, you know, you just have to be patient. Now, Hope is being kind of like the version of herself when she was with Thomas. I didn't necessarily like the pairing. I mean, I didn't really have an issue with it, but I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. What I loved was Hope's new attitude during that time. New dress, new hair, new swag. Loved it. So we are seeing little glimpses of that again. Because Hope was like, I know my worth. I know I'm valuable. I know what I've done for this company. And basically, if you don't want me here, just say that. I'm like, that's right. That's the energy we need. And Steffi is just like, I mean, she literally starts laughing in Hope's face. And Hope was pissed. She was like, oh, so you're going to laugh at me now? And we're just like, you know, let's just please, you know, we love you, Hope. You are valued here. And Hope is just like, do you really believe that, Ridge? Because, so basically Hope just leaves it at, if I'm not needed here, if you don't want me here, just please let me know and I will consider other options. So Steffi yesterday was like, what are you going to do? What options? What are you going to do? Hope has not expressed jumping ship, but she's definitely alluding to it. And Steffi is just falling on deaf ears for her, but Ridge, the actual businessman, in my opinion, is taking notice. So after Hope basically bids them adieu, because she said what she said, it's not going to change. If you don't want me here, just tell me, I'll leave. And if I'm not needed here, I'm going to find something else, basically. So she walks out, and Ridge chastises Steffi just a little. Not enough, just a little. He was like, can you please not rock the boat? And Steffi's like, what? I was on my best behavior. Girl, if she thinks that is her best behavior, where's HR? They need a change. Maybe, whatever. Ridge is cautioning Steffi about the way she's treating Hope. And he's also concerned because he said, I do not want another storyline. Next employee jumps ship. And Steffi, with her smug ass, is like, I mean, whatever, Dad. Hope's not going anywhere. Trust me. Okay. So that is basically how that part ended. So then we still see RJ and Elektra. They are still talking about everything. And RJ actually offers to look up Remy, like locate where he is, because Elektra had mentioned that she didn't know where he was. And he offers to do that. And she's like, no, there's no need, because I actually like not knowing where he is. You know, I have no desire to forgive him or to be associated with him or anyone close to him. And she thanks RJ for it. And RJ's just like, you know, it's nice to see you laughing and smiling again. And he wants that to continue. And he takes her hand and he kisses it. And she's just, this is so maddening to me, because we invested so much time in Will and Elektra, like literally over an actual year of investment, which is huge in a soap opera with the way their timing works. Just for her to go flirt with RJ. I am so, whatever. That is basically it for them, because they piss me off. So then, back to the other people in Forrester, Dylan and Remy. So, again, they are still talking about everything, his weirdness, the weird calls. And, you know, Remy starts to mention, well, you know, it wasn't just me who wasn't contacting you. I tried to reach out to you, but you were unreachable for a little while. So, and it took me forever to track down your new number. And so that is when Dylan started sharing what she had unfortunately experienced. She was just like, yeah, there's a reason why you couldn't reach me, and the reason is because I was homeless, because he was just like, she didn't tell him how she was eating out of trash cans to boot, but, you know, she just told him she was homeless. And she mentioned the Luna situation in terms of her being held hostage. Surprisingly, she did not mention the fact that she hit the bitch with her car. I found that interesting, because, like, what, it was in the news, I thought, but maybe they didn't name the people, but whatever, that didn't come up. So Remy is just like shocked to hear this news. He feels bad for Dylan. He was like, oh my God, I can't imagine what you went through. I wish you would have reached out to me, because, you know, had she have done that, she would have found out that he was already in LA, and she could have crashed at Deke and Remy's spot before that blew up. So, yeah, they were talking about that. And then Remy's like, I have a confession. I know Luna, too. Luna's my friend, but I didn't know how crazy she was. Okay. But I'm starting to question your sanity, Remy. Well, not starting to. Because birds of a feather. From what you did, you seem to be just as crazy as Luna. But okay, Dylan accepts that. All right. So they're still talking, and Dylan's just like, why didn't you tell me about you and Deke? You have a whole boyfriend. I didn't know. Blah, blah, blah. And Remy's just professing his love about Deke. And then he starts to talk about Will, and Dylan just talks about how Will basically changed her life, and she gets all googly-eyed, and Remy clocks it, and he said, oh, I know that look. It's the same way I feel and look when I think of Deke. And then he's like, you're falling for Will, aren't you, Dylan? And Dylan is just like, yeah, but I'm not going to do anything, because I've already hurt Electra enough, and I promised her I would not betray her anymore, and I wasn't going to interfere or stand in the way. And Dylan seems like she's going to keep that promise, even though Remy was like, you know what, you should go for it. I mean, Will and Electra hate me, but I think it's great what he did for you, and you should go for it. No, no, Dylan said no. So then they are still talking when someone is outside of the door. And that someone who is now walking in is Daphne. So Dylan rushes Remy back behind those clothes so Daphne does not see him. And so Daphne was looking for Dylan because she had spoken to Steffi, and Daphne needs a new assistant, and Steffi recommended Dylan. So basically Dylan is getting a promotion. I'm like, girl, look at you. Look at that favor. Because you've been there a month, maybe, and now you are the assistant to the perfume director. So great. Dylan happily and readily accepts this promotion. Who wouldn't? And Daphne heads out. But we had a good scene with Daphne has no awareness of like what's behind her because he's behind the clothes, but you can see his reflection in the mirror and he's just peeping out and staring. It's weird. So then Daphne heads out and Remy comes out from the clothes and he's just like, oh my gosh, look at you. You're getting a promotion already. That is so great. They celebrate a little bit, but then Dylan has to burst that bubble, baby, because she was like, well, as you just heard, I just got a promotion, and unfortunately, I'm not going to mess up my good fortune, basically. Dylan has to think about herself in this situation, and Remy's the one who screwed everything up. So she was just like, I'm not going to be able to do what you've asked, and I think it's best that people do not know we are related. So Remy takes it all in stride. He doesn't lash out or anything. He's very disappointed. You can see that in his face, but he accepts it. And he picks up that little ratty wig, plops it back on his head. No positioning, no glue down, no pins, no clips, nothing. He threw it on like a hat and sulked out of that door. So that is how that arc ended. But I mean, there's multiple possibilities where this could go. Because one, I feel like Remy's going to get even more desperate and he's either going to blow up the spot that Dylan is his cousin, or who knows what else may happen. But before he just, hung his head and walked out, he did ask Dylan one more time to consider talking to Deke on his behalf, because Remy feels that'll be safe because, Deke doesn't work at Forster Creations and they can keep that separate. Girl, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. But yeah, that's it for Remy and Dylan. So then we saw Brooke visiting Logan yet again. Here's a question that I have for both Logan and Forster Creations. Who is in charge of security? Okay, for Forster, I know it's Charlie, but goodness, their security sucks. One, Remy has infiltrated Forster Creations with a ratty synthetic wig, no makeup, no glasses, no nothing. Nobody said a word. Two, Brooke is always on Katie's door. Enough. I would ban her from the building, but whatever. Brooke is here. Katie and Liam were discussing, Hope basically coming over to Logan. And Brooke interrupts that. She doesn't hear anything pertinent when she walks through the door. She's just like, Katie, it's time. And Katie's like, time for what? Because I know she's tired. We're tired. Katie's tired. Enough. Brooke is like, I love my sister, and I don't want to be in competition with you or anything like that. So Brooke is basically coming to make amends. But she picks up on the weird energy between Liam and Katie. So Brooke is just like, oh, I'm interrupting something. And she just surmises, because, she's Brooke and she just has to be right. She surmises that Liam and Katie are undoubtedly discussing the future of Logan since they have lost Eric. She was like, I'm sure you guys are wondering what you're going to do next. And her little smug ass just, pats her little self on the back and she thinks she's totally right. And Liam and Katie let her think that. Katie is basically tight-lipped and she's looking at Liam and Liam's looking at her and Liam was like, well, Brooke, despite what people may think at Forrester, I think there is hope for Logan's future. Absolute cinema. Can I tell you, I am really loving Liam 2.0 because his head is on straight. He knows what he wants and who he wants. And dare I say, he's giving me some glimpses of Dollar Bill a little bit. He's a gentler, more eco-friendly Dollar Bill. But kudos to you, Liam. It took forever, but you have grown up. I love it. And that little play on words had me cackling because I'm just like, I love a petty bitch. Anyways, so then we see Hope and Brooke interacting at Brooke and Ridge's home because Hope had called her mother and asked to meet up at the house because she wanted a little more privacy. So Brooke is just wondering, like, what is going on? And Hope is updating her on her run-in with Steffi and Ridge. And Hope, I don't understand why she took this trajectory. Let me elaborate. So Hope is talking to her mother and she's just, venting about everything. And she was just like, what has Steffi even done? I've created an entire line. I'm not a designer, but it was my idea. I did the work. I've been running it for 10 years. You, Mom, you've given all these things, these 3 major things, and your co-CEO. What has Steffi done? And Hope was like, I just wish you were in charge and not Steffi. So Hope is over here trying to put a battery in Brooke's back again. Because if you will remember, this has been being foreshadowed for like at least a year and a half at this point. Because when was it? I don't know. But Brooke has been randomly and intermittently talking to Ridge about becoming, well, no, maybe I'm wrong. Was that when she wanted to become co-CEO? Somebody tell me. But I feel like they have been foreshadowing Brooke potentially pushing Steffi out for years. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why Hope threw this out as well. Maybe she's like, I'm going to just blow it all up before I leave. Because my whole thing is, if you're planning on jumping ship, there is absolutely no need to talk about, I wish you were in charge, Mom, because who the hell cares if you're leaving? But whatever. And Brooke was just listening. And she's like, trying to be supportive. But after Hope says, I'm really getting tired of being mistreated. And I don't know how much longer I could take this. Brooke asks her point blank, like, what are you trying to say? And then we just see the usual staring off while Hope is having an inner monologue weighing her options. So, that is how we ended on today. It is Wednesday? So, I'm hoping by Friday, Hope makes an official decision. And I hope that decision is walking away, telling Steffi to kiss her grits on the way out, and that she goes and brings some hope to Logan's future. Thank you, Liam. Once again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, follow, subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.